All right, so I'm here with George McManus from the Beverley Labour Party and Karl Turner, who's the MP for East Hull. So, guys, you've organised this public awareness event in the centre of Beverley, giving people the opportunity to vote on whether or not they think fracking is a good idea. How do you think today's gone?
We have had a massive response. I reckon in the last 2 hours we've seen 750 ballot papers completed. We've had a range of views, a range of opinions, and we've handed out lots of information leaflets. It's quite clear that some people hold very strong views for and against. It's also quite clear that there's a lot of misinformation out there. A lot of people don't really know what to think. They know that it's a serious issue, but they haven't formulated an opinion yet.
So what would you say the split has been on the people that you've spoken with?
It's impossible to tell. People seem to be searching us out who are anti-fracking. Possibly because they've heard it was publicised and intending to make sure they get their vote in. But we've also had a lot of people that have been voting to say that they support the principle. We'll do a tally later and we'll let you know.
I've got to say, I found Beverley quite hard work. I mean, the number of people accepting the flyers has probably been about 1 in 5, whereas I'm more used to like 1 in 2 or 1 in 3.
Well, welcome to Beverley. We're here every month, and so we know Beverley very well.
Now, Karl, you're the sitting MP. The Labour Party policy on fracking would appear to be pro at the moment.
Well, I think, look, what the Labour Party is saying is we need an evidence base for it. We need to have some scientific evidence. We're saying we are concerned about the dash for gas. Personally, I favour renewables more. Clearly, we need to know what public mood is as well, and that's the exercise today, actually. The Beverley Labour Party have organised this street stall where people get the opportunity to engage on the issue and vote, whether they're in favour or not, and that's a very important thing. But my own point on this is the government have got a tendency for a dash for gas. I'm concerned about that. I accept that we have to have energy security at the priority of government in order actually to bring down the cost of energy to people in their domestic homes.
But you said about evidence needed. I mean, how much evidence does the Labour Party need, though? Because if the evidence is very clear from the US, from Canada, from Australia, the academic evidence is there, the likes of Professor Robert Oswald, who's looked at the impact on US farming.
Absolutely. Look, the reality is this. If you ask for an expert to give evidence, I'm a criminal lawyer by trade, you can get an opinion saying one thing, and then just as good an opinion, just as qualified opinion, saying the exact opposite. But we need to have a genuine, honest, open debate on the issue and find out what the real evidence is on this issue. I'm concerned, personally, I'll be honest, I've been pretty clear about this, I've said it publicly, I've got concerns about the dash for gas. I accept that we have to have our eye on energy security. It's important to bring down the cost of living. That's the main priority of the Labour government going into the Labour Party going into the next general election. But we should just be a little bit concerned about the issues that people raise on this very important subject.
What you've got to remember is the situation in America, especially the geology, is fundamentally different to what we have here. In the Humber Basin, the geology is much more folded, much more disturbed than you find in the northeast, especially the US. We do not have the technical data as yet to prove that this is safe. And until we can show that it's safe, I don't think there should be any further progress. That's what Karl talks about when he talks about gathering evidence. Labour believes in basing policy on evidence, not in hearsay, not in profits, but on what's best for the future of the country as a whole.
But I've spoken to a number of MPs from all parties, and with the exception of the Green Party, who, with all due respect, are not going to form the next government. But everybody basically says exactly the same thing, and that is that they are very anti-fracking coming into their location, but they still support the overall agenda.
If you look at what the government's doing, and the fact that the Queen's speech last week shows that they are going to change the trespass law, which has been here virtually since Magna Carta, so as to make it easier for the extractors to go in, withdraw gas from under your property and my property without your permission, is a fundamental change. This government is going hell for leather for shale gas, and so there's a big difference between the parties.
So do you think there's was a point coming where Ed Miliband and his advisors actually recognised that if they come out with a strong anti-fracking stance, then it will completely change the whole political landscape in this country. Because every time there is a poll by the media, then it would seem that it seems to be about 80% against and 20% for.
I don't think Ed Miliband makes policy based on public opinion. It's very important, of course, to gauge opinion, but I think the evidence should dictate policy on this issue. And that's what the Labour Party have said. You say the three main parties are similar on the issue. It's not true, actually. What the Tories are saying, a lot of the Tories, backbench and peers in the House of Lords are saying is shale gas is fine, providing it's not in the south of England, it's not in the posh areas, the areas that vote Conservative. Do it in the north by all means, but don't do it in Beverley.
But this is a Conservative area.
I'm about to make the point. Don't do it in Beverley and Walkington, where people vote Tory. That's what the Tories are saying. The Labour Party is saying we need evidence-based, we need to be absolutely clear on the evidence, and that's our issue. But of course, we have a concern about energy security as well.
Thanks for that.
Thank you very much indeed. Thanks a lot.